What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Rams Brothers. I'm your host, Dean, and I'm joined, as always, by my brother and the other great host of the show, Nick. And Nick, it's a victory Monday. Feels good to be back in the win column after a really tough Monday night loss against the Dolphins. Rams have won 4 of 5 games and now are preparing for the Eagles in prime time and Sunday night football, 1 week at a time, though. And first and most importantly, how are you, my good brother?
I'm good. I mean, it's a good win. You know, the offense really showed up on a team that's formidable. The Patriots, you can't be upset on Victory Monday, even though it got a little hairy there at the end, and there was an opportunity for all our hearts to snap.
Yeah, I thought they were going to put it away on that pass down the sideline to Puka Nacua on 3rd and 6, but the defensive back did a really nice job of breaking that pass up, but I thought that was going to be the dagger. Puka and Kupp played really well. Matthew Stafford played incredible. Even the offensive line, you had some shuffling in terms of Bo Limmer back at center. Jonah Jackson was on the bench all 3 years and $51 million were on the bench. And no Joe Noteboom in this game. And Warren McClendon played his ass off. So I thought offensively, much better performance. They were so much better in the red zone. Matthew Stafford.
Night and day offensive performance against what you would think would be a better defense. And Stafford ends up putting up his third best QBR in his career. The number one was his debut. Yeah, this is JB Long right here. Number one was his debut week 1 for the Rams in 2021, but 142.7 passer rating from Stafford. At third highest in 16-year career. That is remarkable. It's just some prime Stafford throws and just some real beauties in that game. And, like always, they struggle in the beginning. They can't get out of their own way. They're slow to start. New England goes up 7-0. Looks like they can go up 10-0. And you're starting to worry about this team. I'm tweeting stuff like, this is a bad team. And then, they go out and they show you who they really are. It's so difficult to watch as a fan. They just can never get off to a fast start. And that is the same story of the Eagles this year.
Yeah.
So going up against them Sunday is going to be really interesting to see who's going to just, make that first strike in that first quarter. It could be 0-0 going into the second.
Yeah, it's funny. It's your personal Twitter early on in games is a really good representation of the negative feedback that this team consistently gets week over week.
100%.
Yeah, Matthew Stafford is washed. He's cooked. This team is not good. Sean McVay needs to give up play calling duty. But it's like that
I didn't
worry.
say that. That was not me, though.
That worry that kicks in earlier on in games. And I just want to draw comparisons to what's going on week over week in the NFL. Like, I remember watching back the Patriots and the Bears last week. Caleb Williams was sacked 9 times in that game. Quarterback that can't necessarily recognize stuff post-snap. You see Matthew Stafford just being able to recognize cover 0 on that 69-yard touchdown pass to Cooper Kupp, one of his 4 touchdown passes in that game. A rookie quarterback, you know what he does? He stalls, he scrambles, he gets pressured, and he gets sacked. And this offensive line, I thought, was really, really impressive in this game. This is a stat from Sosa. Pressures allowed by the offensive line in Week 11 per PFF. Alaric Jackson 1, Steve Avila 1, Bo Limmer 1, Kevin Dotson 0, Warren McClendon 0. So once you have Rob Havenstein back and, that right side of the line is going to be dominant once again, and we're probably going to get him back for the Eagles game. But shout out to Warren McClendon because he is so much better than Joe Noteboom. And he's so much better than anybody else you could have put there in that situation in terms of who's currently on the roster. So big shout out to him. Can't talk about quarterback performance without efficiencies up front in the offensive line. So I thought like the combination of being able to execute in the red zone, the offensive line playing really well, Matthew Stafford looking rejuvenated, looking healthy, and being able to pick apart a defense that's pretty formidable, that has a really solid pass rush, that has some talent on the back end, young talent. So, I was just overly impressed with the offense in general, being able to execute. And maybe not in all scenarios. There was a 3rd down play where they called this, coming out of a timeout, they called this long developing pass play where Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua were like right on top of each other and it led to an incompletion.
You need like one more second, though, in that pocket. If the offensive line can hold up, it's absolutely there. But and you're trusting your guys up front for that. But, yeah, I mean, after a timeout, I think it was a timeout LA and then timeout New England. So you had more time than you could have even drawn up for yourself to come up with a play there. And that's when you come out. It's just, definitely. That's when I believe that was the pinpoint moment when all of the tweets on the timeline just start becoming relinquished play calling to LaFleur. It's over for you, McVay. It's done. Like, that's like, if you could pinpoint one moment when those tweets start flying in, it's definitely at that stop.
Yeah, the play calling I think is so interesting because like you're good for 95% of the game. Like how perfect do you expect somebody like Matt LaFleur to come in and call plays? Like do you expect 100% of the plays to be perfectly executed, to be perfectly called? Like what kind of savant, what kind of offensive genius do you think the Rams have on their staff right now to call a 100% perfect game through all 4 quarters in the red zone in every single situation? Sean McVay is the guy for that job. He's been doing it for what, 8-9 years so far as a professional head coach. He was also calling plays, as an offensive coordinator when he was back in Washington, and he was kind of rising up the coaching ranks in that regard. So, I mean, somebody that has a ton of experience doing it. Does he get in his own way? Sometimes, sure. Is he perfect? No. Is Matthew Stafford perfect? No. But he's still the best quarterback in the NFC and the best option that you can currently have at this point. And there was a moment in this game where they showed this stat on Matthew Stafford: 4 touchdown passes in the last 9 completions. So it's somebody that just catches fire, that can pick apart defenses, that can recognize things pre and post snap that a rookie quarterback just can't do. I understand the argument of wanting to have somebody on your roster who's going to eventually take over at the quarterback position. Matthew Stafford's only on a 1-year deal, so that guy should theoretically be on the roster. And they don't have that right now. So I mean, just to consistently call for replacements without a viable solution is really where the frustration lies. From
when you have the Drake Mays and the Jaden Daniels and even the Bo Nix of the world on your team, it's just, you're not thinking about just right now. You're thinking about the future and where this team can be when they get more pieces, right, and what it can look like when they bring somebody else in. And Drake May, to his credit, played a really, really good game.
Yeah,
had that one mistake at the very end that cost them the game. But I mean, they're in a position to drive down the field and score. And I think I can speak for all Rams fans when I can say we were really scared of that potential happening. And just to play devil's advocate a little more, when you have someone like Stafford, you expect them to be able to, like a game last week against Miami, you should be able to outsling against Tua, and you weren't able to do that. And now you're back to 500, but the expectations are a lot higher when you have somebody like Stafford, as opposed to like for right now, as opposed to like a Drake May or a Jaden Daniels. So, and he's on a 1-year deal. So it's not like you can sit here and be like, well, he's going to be back these next couple of years, because we have no idea if he's going to come back next year. Maybe he's going to want to, look for the bag somewhere else, get a 3-year deal with a New York team or something and move on. And then we're in a position. So it's a little, I understand the frustration with the record that we have. But then he goes and has a game like today against a really good defense. And you're like, damn, like this is the guy that we all thought he was.
Yeah,
but last week he's missed an open Kyron Williams for an easy touchdown. So
yeah, I know, but I mean, I don't know what did people expect? Did they expect somebody to be perfect in the red zone, like Jaden Daniels to be perfect in the red zone, Bo Nix, Caleb Williams? Like Josh Allen has his legs that he can utilize. There's guys like Joe Burrow, there's guys like Patrick Mahomes who are efficient in all categories. But you see the struggles. I guess the Cincinnati Bengals are a good comparison. When you don't have a healthy offensive line, you have inefficiencies in your defense, you have injuries at wide receiver and inconsistencies there. Like those are some of the reasons why this team wasn't able to get wins in late moments against Chicago, against the Packers, right? They had some struggles this season, but I think a 7-4 record or 7-3 record, you're able to get some of those wins, and nobody's talking about any of these kind of scenarios. Everybody's talking about this team would go to the Super Bowl. This team is number 1 in the division. And as of right now, they're 2nd in the division. The Cardinals are 6-4 with the division lead. The Seahawks ended up beating the 49ers last night. Geno Smith put the entire fan base to bed utilizing the Steph Curry celebration.
That's brutal. That is brutal to hit the Curry in San Fran against them. I mean, he had a remarkable play where he rushed in on it, like on his own for the game-winning touchdown with 12 seconds left. I mean, I was literally texting Dean like in Home Goods, because I wasn't watching the game and I was in Home Goods. And I was like, you should have put your son's college tuition on San Francisco. There's no way they were going to lose to the Seattle team. And then Seattle drives down the field. And I'm happy, but I'm also feeling like an idiot because I gave everybody San Francisco -6 on Nick's picks. But regardless, I just the NFC West is It's the Wild Wild West more than it ever has been. It's just like we're beating each other up. Like there's no clear favorite. I mean, the Cardinals have the easiest schedule going forward. So right now they're the odds-on favorite. But I've learned in my days to never count out Los Angeles, but also never count out San Francisco.
Yeah, and Arizona always seems to expose themselves in December or January. And, that's kind of been their history under Kyler Murray. Under center, but obviously new coach, new regime, things could be different this year. And they look like one of the tougher teams in the division. And I think right now they're the odds on favorite to win the division. San Francisco's second, Rams are third. But, I think it's going to be a really interesting finish because of how difficult the Rams' upcoming schedule is. You got the Eagles, you got the Saints, you got the Bills, you got the Niners, you got the Cardinals, you got the Seahawks. I think the last two games are at home. So you got the Seahawks and the Cardinals at home in the final 2 weeks of the season. So I feel like a lot of it's going to come down to that. So no reason to be all discouraged in terms of like how this season's going to unfold because there's still so much football to play. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see how the NFC West in general unfolds just because of how close it is right now. And the other thing I wanted to talk about too was the defense, right? Because I thought Braden Fiske was phenomenal. Braden Fiske now leads all rookies with 5 sacks on the year. That's from our friend Alan Sales. He shared that yesterday on X. Braden Fiske is really dominant right now. He's the first rookie, and this is from JB Long, first Rams rookie with multiple games of 2+ sacks in his first 10 games of his career. And he's the first rookie since Micah Parsons in 2021 to do that. He tied Byron Young and Robert Quinn for most sacks by a Ram with 5 through the first 10 games of the season. And Fiske and Verse are the first Rams rookies with strip sacks in back-to-back games. So Fiske and Verse are playing really well. It was a really stupid penalty by Jared Verse on that scuffle. And that one was pretty costly. I think the defense had like 6 or 7 penalties for like 65, 70 yards. So they were highly penalized. And I thought the secondary had kind of a down game. And you're going to need all 3 phases to play really well against the Eagles. You're going to need a perfect game from the defense. You're going to need a really, really good game from the offense. And even special teams, you can't afford to miss a 26-yard field goal. So, that's kind of where some of the frustration lies is like they haven't been able to play a full, complete, consistent game from all 3 phases. So it's going to require that to beat the Eagles.
Defense, they finish the game. They get the interception. Yep. Well done. They also gave they bailed out that Patriots offense for one drive when the Rams were up 2 scores, looking like the game was over. We could finally have our feet up. It was like 3rd and 9, first down, 3rd and 8, first down, just like kept giving them these first downs. And you made a really good point where they're just really young and you're at a point where it's hard. Like they've had to win these games and play from behind and just pin their ears back and just go after the quarterback and like hit the running back before he can make his first move. So they're not really, they don't know how to play these games when really you just have to give them less and less. Like you can give them like a first down every here and there, but you don't need to be, stopping them, getting like forcing 3 and outs all the time. You can almost like eat away the clock and let the offense drive down, give up 3, and then let your offense get back on the field. So it's a difficult to watch them, but then they make up for it at the very end with that interception.
Yeah, with the Cam Kitchens interception. Yeah, they make up for it with the talent up front. Being able to rush the passer consistently, stopping the run game consistently, which I thought they did a really good job of. There was a goal line situation where Omar Spates made a really nice play, shooting a gap and making a stop in the backfield on 2nd down, and then Roseboom came around the edge on 3rd down and made another really good stop. I thought Michael Hoyt had a really good game. He blocked an extra point. And I thought he was, in terms of snap counts, I think he played 50+ snaps. So he's in rotation. He's a guy that you can move all around the front and knows how to play both interior, exterior. So I think he's a really valuable asset on this defense. And yeah, sure, they wanted a guy like Andrew Van Ginkel in the offseason, but Michael Hoyt is kind of like a B version of that player, somebody that you can run in rotation. And even, somebody like Brennan Jackson was getting some snaps yesterday. So this rotation of edge rushers, I think, is really solid. And they're consistently getting better. They're learning how to play off of one another. But being able to play with a lead and being able to pin your ears back and get after the quarterback is a luxury for this defense because of of how much the offense has struggled so far this season. So they're just not used to doing that.
Just to speak on the Carney situation, I was really upset when he missed that going into halftime. It would have been phenomenal to get those 3 points and then get more right away after getting the ball after halftime. But then I watched the Sunday night game. McPherson, 2 opportunities to win the game, and he misses both. And it was just the same thing happened in the Browns game. They had a chance to take the lead going into halftime, and the dude misses like a 15-yard field goal. It's just kickers are just basket cases right now. Justin Tucker, another one, just missed a couple.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I tweeted, like, I don't want to project that kicker. Like, why do we waste a draft pick on this kid? Could have got somebody from the XFL. I've been saying that nonstop. But, I mean, he's done enough this year in the games where we need him. So, I don't know. I don't really know where I land on Cardi right now. It's just
I get it. You miss a 26-yard field goal that badly, it gets a little bit concerning. And all NFL kickers were 149 of 50 from within 26 yards this season. And then in the Browns game and also the Rams game, both kickers missed field goals within 26 yards. So like that stuff doesn't happen really frequently. I was looking at a guy like Jake Moody last week for the 49ers. He missed 3 field goals and they gave him a chance of redemption to win the game last week. McPherson's struggling. Justin Tucker has been terrible this season. Jake Bates, obviously the guy from the XFL that you always want to talk about, has been pretty solid. But I mean,
all I wanted them to do was get him. I called him out by team. I was like, the Battle Hawks, St. Louis has this kicker that just drills him from like 61. There's no reason we have to waste a draft pick on a rookie kicker that doesn't know what they're doing. And then you got Jake Bates doing we bring the booze.
I know. Frustrating. And then we'll see what happens with Cardi. I thought he looked pretty confident coming out of the half. I know he plays some mental games where he was like the extra points are a little bit more stressful because everybody expects you to make them. So I think within a certain range, he just gets a little heady. But he does have the leg. I think he has the capabilities. It's just going to take a little bit of time for him to get there. He was one of 3 6th-round picks. So it's not like it really kills you.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
If you want to, he hasn't killed you like Brett Maher did last year or Liram Haurelahu or whatever the hell. So, I mean, it's not as bad as it was last year. At least the special teams in general has gotten significantly better.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're blocking an extra point.
Yeah.
That's that doesn't.
And they've done it, I think, in 2 or 3 weeks. They've been blocking extra points, which is very, very uncommon in this league.
Yeah, sorry, Bears fans. That one really, really had to hurt for that field goal to get blocked against the Packers. It's just brutal.
Yeah, they can't get a win in that building. It's been years. So
was that Lambeau or was that?
Or maybe it was Soldier Field.
Doesn't
I'm not
matter.
sure.
I think it was Soldier, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So next week you got the Birds. 3-point underdogs to the Eagles. Over under at 48, which I think is a little bit low, but it's considering, how slow these teams start. Eagles are coming off of a long week of rest. They played Thursday night and now they get to travel to Los Angeles, play Sunday night against the Rams. So I think that one's going to be really interesting. And we'll talk about that later this week, but just wanted to show the spread as it starts.
What's your just instinct going into that game? Just like on a base level.
I think that they're doing a really good job of stopping the run, the Rams. And the Eagles' entire mantra and personality right now is running the ball with Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
I think their pass attack, Jalen Hurts turns the ball over when he's pressured, when he has to speed through his progressions. He doesn't throw over the middle of the field well. So I think defending the boundaries, if you can make sure that that's in check, and you're doing a good job from a second, third level perspective at protecting the middle of the field and stopping the run, that offense can really get off to a slow start. And if the Rams can play with a lead, they understand the Vic Fangio scheme. Obviously, Vic Fangio is a defense that they've tried to replicate year over year with guys like Brandon Staley, guys like Raheem Morris. So I actually think it's a pretty good matchup for the Rams, to be honest.
I think that's why a 5-5 team is only 3-point underdogs against an 8-2 team.
Yeah, we know like when they get that much rest, they get 11, 12 days of rest. You're essentially coming off of a bye in that regard, and you travel to the West Coast. you might start a little bit even slower than expected. And the Eagles and the Rams are like two of the worst first quarter
teams
in the NFL. And the Eagles are definitely a second half team from everything I've watched this year. So I think it's a pretty decent matchup for the Rams, believe it or not.
Yeah, no, I mean, the line being at -3, that's exactly what the Vikings were. And that game was awesome. So the Rams fans are thinking that it can go like that. But the Eagles are like the Dolphins, where it's just like over the last couple of years, it feels like whenever we play them, we lose. I mean, 2020 is that one rare Tyler Higbee exception, but every other Eagles-Rams game I can recall is a loss from the Rams.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, in that game, so there's going to be a lot of Eagles fans there. So you know how
it'll be filled to the brim with Eagles fans. That's why I'm not going.
Yeah, in their home stadium, it'll be difficult. So it's an opportunity. And then if you get that win, you're 6-5, and then you got the Saints. So opportunity to go 7-5 before you got to go play Buffalo, which is the outlook that I think a lot of fans should have. Try to stay optimistic.
7-5 playing Buffalo with like a real underdog mentality would be phenomenal.
Yeah, totally agree.
But now the Saints are like scrappy and have this interim head coach that's like making them play their ass off. So who knows?
We shall see. As always, we appreciate you guys. Victory Monday has been fun. Victory Sunday night is even more fun to go back and forth with people who want to replace Matthew Stafford and replace Sean McVay.
Dean's favorite pastime.
Yeah, my favorite. You just appreciate what you got for once, Rams fans. This is not the way.
Dance with the girl you came with one time.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I shouldn't have benched DJ Moore in fantasy this week.
Yeah. But yeah, we appreciate you guys. Thanks for listening. Make sure to like and subscribe. We're on Blue Sky, we're on X, we're on all other social platforms. Make sure to engage with us there. Like and comment. Let us know your thoughts on this past game. Let us know your thoughts ahead of the Eagles game. We're going to do another episode this week previewing the Eagles. But as always, go Rams.
Go Rams. We need to do something about Nick's picks and Dean's locks for this next week because we have had terrible locks.
Yeah, they're getting murdered.
Yeah, so we'll figure that out. I promise you we're going back to the lab, but thanks for listening, everybody. Go Rams.
Peace.